Good morning, everyone. I'm Judith Simmer-Brown, a Shambhala teacher, but also a longtime faculty member from Naropa University. I retired a few years ago. I wanted to talk to you about my upcoming course called Understanding Vajrayana. It is a course that is based on a course that I taught for many years at Naropa University, and I wanted to tell you something about that course just to give you some feeling for the approach and context of our upcoming Shambhala online course. In the early years of Naropa, the Vidyadhara, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, talked to Reggie Ray and me, asking us to develop a course for Naropa that was an introduction to Vajrayana for anyone, whether they're Vajrayana students or not. His suggestion was that if students were to get a degree from a university called Naropa University, they should have some kind of appreciation for and understanding of Vajrayana as a tradition, as a path, and as a culture. And so he asked Reggie and me to develop this course. As he said, this is a course a little bit like if you're teaching music appreciation. He said, it doesn't train people to be musicians, but it means when they listen to music, they have some idea what they're listening to and how to listen. He said, from that point of view, I'd like you to develop a Vajrayana appreciation course. So Reggie and I developed the course together and alternated years that we taught it. And then as Reggie left Naropa, I taught it for many years alone. It's a course that introduces Vajrayana with some reference to the scholarly traditions, really critiquing how a merely scholarly approach will never understand Vajrayana on its own terms. It's a course that really has a kind of scholar practitioner approach, an insider perspective, you could say, as well as an outsider perspective, talking about how difficult it is to understand Vajrayana from a purely intellectual point of view, and what kind of insider understanding is necessary in order to make sense of the intricacies of the Vajrayana tradition. So this is what we're going to do together. We're going to survey the main topics of the Vajrayana tradition, including the centrality of the Guru, the practices of the Vajrayana path, both form practices, ritual practices, and the formless practices. We're going to understand something about the kind of training needed to be a Vajrayana practitioner, and also how to understand the path along the way, both in its sudden and gradual senses, we could say. In this course, we'll go through the topics. In each class, there'll be time for discussion of the topics, and I'll be providing readings from a variety of perspectives about each of the topics, trying to understand what do we mean by the mandala and what is mandala principle in Vajrayana Buddhism. How do we understand sadhana practice? How do we understand Nundro, what this is? So this is a course for anybody, whether you ever plan to practice the Vajrayana or not. And it may be helpful in considering the topics of this class as you choose a Vajrayana teacher to study with, and as you begin to practice and continue along the path of Vajrayana. We'll also look at the Terma tradition and try to understand the difference between the long transmissions as opposed to the Kama traditions, as opposed to the treasured traditions of Terma. So we could understand a little bit about the difference between the Shambhala aspects of the Shambhala traditions and the long traditions of Kagyu and Nyingma, and how they go together and how they're different as well. We'll also do a kind of survey of Vajrayana in the West, try to understand what are these various lineages, how do we distinguish between them, what do they share in common as well. So that's a sense of what we'll be doing in this course. My bias will be toward Vajrayana as a path to liberation and the variety of paths that are available to us as Western practitioners. There'll be plenty of time for discussion and breakouts, and I'll be providing additional readings for you if you want to understand more broadly Vajrayana traditions, both in Tibet and Asia, as well as the West. So it should be a very stimulating course. There are readings that we will do that are critical of various aspects of Vajrayana, and we'll ask, for example, as Vajrayana comes to the West, what adaptations could be made or not. You could let us discuss those things all together. So please consider joining me. It will be 8 weeks of very rich study and conversation and application to our practice, whatever practice we're doing. Thank you very much and look forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.